Hello students, welcome to biology lecture. From today you are going to start a new journey of a science. And for the sure, your journey will be adventurous and memorable. So let's begin with the chapter number 8, and that is cell, the basic unit of life. And today we are going to discuss a topic, that is what is a cell. Before we start the chapter, let me go through one analysis. Here in the screen, you can see one analysis is given, and that is for the last 10 years questions. So from this chapter, you can understand over here, 4 topics are there. Out of these 4 topics, from introduction, 8 questions were asked. From the cell theory, 4 questions were asked. From the prokaryotic cell, 14 questions were asked, and from the eukaryotic cell, 151 questions were asked in the Neet examination. This is the analysis of last 10 years. So you can get the idea which topic is most important in this chapter. So first of all, let me try to understand what is an organism and how we can differentiate it from the non-living creatures. So on the earth or on the universe, if you observe, two type of creations are there. First, living creations, and second is the non-living creations, or we can say objects. Okay, the basic difference between living and non-living creations is that all living creations or organisms represent the cell, and that is the basic unit of life. That means you can say that living creations are made up of cells, whether these non-living creations are not made up of cells. Means cell structure is a differentiating phenomena in between living organisms and non-living objects. Okay, so all organisms are composed of cell. Better we can say all living organisms are composed of cells. Some are composed of single cell, means only a single cell work as a organism, individual organism, and such an organism which have just a single cell as their body part, and it is called a unicellular organism, means single cell organism like amoeba, paramecium likewise, while others like human, like us, okay, it is composed of, we are composed of many cells. We are made up of so many cells, okay, thousands and lakhs of cells, okay, and are called multicellular organisms. So living organisms are of two kinds, maybe unicellular and maybe. Now let me understand what is a cell. Okay, so cell is the fundamental, structural and functional unit of any living organism. Means if you observe any living organism, the basic structural and functional unit is a cell. Every organism, means any organism, whether it is unicellular, multicellular, any organism on the earth starts their life from a single cell. Even multicellular organisms also initiate their life from the single cell. Okay, and that is called zygote. Means repeated mitosis, that is a cell division process, one type of cell division process, and that is called mitosis. Okay, the zygote will undergo, means initially it was a zygote, but zygote when undergoes so many cycles of a cell division, that is called mitosis, and that will lead to formation of a whole body, that is a multicellular body. Here you can see, suppose this is the gamete, that is a haploid structure, means male and female gamete. Okay, both are a haploid, both will fertilize together and form zygote, that is a diploid structure. Okay, and these diploid structure will undergo several rounds of a cell division, and that is called mitosis. Okay, and due to mitosis, this number of a cell will increase. Okay, and become more in number, increase in numbers, and it become multicellular organism. Okay, so by this way, from the initially it is unicellular. Any organism, whether it is a unicellular or a multicellular, both at the initial level it was a unicellular, and if multicellular organism is there, then it will undergo mitosis cycles. Okay, that is a cell division cycles, and due to cell division it will convert into multicellular diploid organism. So by this way, the single cell organism will convert into multicellular organism. Okay, so any life, any organism will initiate with the zygote, and afterward it will convert into multicellular. Each cell contains the whole complement of genetic information. Okay, any cell, if you observe any cell, it will have a genetic makeup, or better we can say that a DNA composition. Okay, and that DNA composition will have some codes, okay, which will lead to the organism which type of character there must be show. Okay, and that is called genetic information, not for itself but for the whole organism. Okay, cell contain the genetic information, but not it is not just for the cell, but it will for the whole body. Okay, and such a genetic information related cell is called, a characteristic is called totipotency. Okay, means each cell have to, means they have the ability to form so many type of tissues, so many type of organs. Okay, that capacity within their cell, within the cell, which is due to their genetic information, and that is called totipotency. So let me try to understand more about totipotency. Suppose, as I told you, one haploid structure, that is a sperm, that is a male gamete, and suppose this is a female gamete, that both are a haploid. After fertilization, what happen? This haploid structure of a male gamete and haploid structure from the female gamete merge together or fuse together and form a zygote. Okay, and that will become a diploid structure. Okay, zygote will be a diploid structure. Afterward, what happen? It will undergo several rounds of a mitosis, and a result of that, multicellular structures will be formed. So during this phase, what is there? This cell or this structure is considered as a totipotent cell. Here you cannot identify the organs, because the message related to organ generation, organogenesis related message is not just pass over here. Okay, that's why here in this situation, in this particular phase, all cell can develop into tissues. Okay, all cells have the capacity to develop into tissue. If the all cell present in this structure have the ability to generate the tissue, then it is called totipotency. Okay, and afterward what happen? These cell will be given a work distribution. Okay, means work distribution will be carried out, and that is called cell differentiation partially. Okay, and then it will convert into pluripotent cell. Okay, this cell will now convert into pluripotent cell, and after pluripotency, first of all it was a totipotent cell, and afterward due to some several cell differentiation mechanism, it will convert into pluripotent cell, and now this pluripotent cell will have some function. Okay, and as a result of that, they have some work distribution, and accordingly they will develop into some organs. Like this pluripotent cell will convert, means they will differentiate it to form heart, to form a nervous system, to form an immune system, and afterward when these is differentiated to form heart particularly, for a nervous system particularly, now onward they cannot form any other tissue. Okay, as it become unipotent. Okay, after unipotency they cannot generate other tissues. Okay, because work is specifically given to that particular cell, and that's why they cannot form any other tissue. But at this stage, at the totipotent stage, they can form any organ. Okay, and afterward when cell differentiation occur, it become pluripotent cell, and then they will generate some specific individual tissue, and only after that, means when they can means they convert into unipotent cells, they cannot no more able to function as any other tissue. Okay, so by this way, totipotency is very important phenomena. As all of you may know that cell is a very microstructure. Without a microscope you cannot observe. Okay, so first person who have invented microscope was Antony von Leeuwenhoek, and that's why he was considered as a father of a microscope and also a father of microbiology. Okay, so how cell is discovered? You can understand only after microscope discovery, cell discovery will be possible, because cell is a so minor structure, and that's why we cannot see or observe by naked eye. That's why we have required some instrument, and that instrument is a microscope. Okay, so the person who have invented or discovered a microscope was Antony von Leeuwenhoek, and that's why he was the first person to describe a live cell. Okay, living cell. He had observed a living cell for the first second person, and that is Robert Hooke. He was the scientist who have firstly observed a cell in a non-living state. Okay, he was an English scientist. Observe a thin slice of a cork, that is a plant, under his crude microscope. Here you can see the microscope. Okay, that is the initial level of a microscope. In 1665, he described the cork as a composed of small space surrounding by the firm wall. Here you can see box-like structures. Okay, and he gave a name as a cell. Another scientist whose contribution is very important in cell biology, and he was Robert Brown, later discovered the nucleus. Till this date, okay, nucleus was not discovered, and the person who discovered for the first time nucleus discovered was Robert Brown. Okay, the invention of a microscope and improvement leading to the electron microscopy and reveal all the structural detail of the cell. So Robert Brown noticed that pollen grain in the water jiggled around called Brownian motion. Okay, which you will learn in physics also, and discovered the nucleus. He is the scientist who have discovered for the first lecture a nucleus. This is enough. Okay, now onward in next lectures we will learn more. For the today's lecture, you just have to do this homework. Okay, definition of unicellular multicellular organisms, then what is a totipotency, okay, then what is a cell, then who described first live cell. Just answer this. In next lecture, we will learn a cell theory. So till that, goodbye.